Okay, there's going to be 3 major tsunamis coming up, guys, in the apocalypse. Doing this message to give you all the information I have to release this so that we can prepare in the days ahead. You know, those of you that live on coastal areas, you know, really get a plan together. You know, get preparations for it. You may have to just be like Lot and at a short moment's notice, just get out. Okay, because it's as in the days of Noah. Days of Noah was a flood. As in the days of Lot, Lot had to just up and move right away, not turn their back. So this is a strong message, guys, of warning, especially to any of you in the United States on either coast. You know, really get a plan together. I can't emphasize it much. Flee Babylon. Flee. Now, guys, in this message, I'm going to show you this in the beginning. I'm just going to point out this line. Okay, the reason I'm pointing this line out to you is that in the scriptures it talks about this line. And this line is to measure. And it's to measure essentially, in this presentation, we're going to tell you about the line measuring the floods. Okay? Now, there's been one already, and there's going to be 3 more. Now, essentially what I'm telling you about with this line, guys, is Isaiah 28, verse 2. The Lord has a mighty and strong one, and that's an angel, okay? We're going to look at that angel in a minute. Which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm as a flood of mighty waters. So this line is going to measure this flood. And we're going to show you the precise fulfillment of these as a flood of mighty waters, overflowing. Then in Isaiah 28, verse 17, it says, "Judgment will I lay the line, okay, and righteousness to the plummet. The waters shall overflow the hiding place." So guys, there's a prophecy that someone would measure the tsunamis in the flood. If you are unfamiliar, in our last message, guys, we talked about the beast. The beast has 4 sections to it: gold, silver, bronze, and iron. Those sections dealt with the head, chest, waist, and legs. And we've established that out of the river, the millennial temple has a river. In that river, the river flows by a measurement. Okay? There's an angel in Ezekiel 47, and he draws a line from the temple, okay? And he measures these waters. The first set of measurements is 1,000 cubits up to the ankles, okay? And the next one is 1,000 cubits up to the knees. The next one is 1,000 cubits up to the waist. Then it's 1,000 cubits over his head is the height of this river. Now this river is judgment upon Babylon. There's a prophetic significance of the angel with the line that's measuring that Ezekiel sees. There's a symbolism there. It's the same angel that we find in Isaiah 28, verse 2. The Lord has a mighty and strong one. With a line, with judgment, will he lay the line of this tsunami. Now, we can clearly see there's 4 sections there. We have the head, chest, waist, and legs. Just like here, we have the feet, knees, waist, and head. Okay? So what's happening? Ezekiel 47, this river. All right? Now, we've also determined that in Daniel chapter 2, that beast that had those sections to it, it's the same beast we find in Daniel chapter 3. Daniel chapter 3, the measurement of that beast was 60 cubits. Okay? So, remember, we're talking about 4 sections. So each section of the total 60 cubits would be 15 cubits. Okay? And you say, all right, Leland, what are you talking about? What's the big deal with 15 cubits? Remember we told you, it's as in the days of Noah. Okay? So Noah, there was a flood, right? Okay. Well, what was the waters from the tops of the mountains to Noah's Ark? It was 15 cubits, guys. So the waters covered the entire landmass, and the highest peak of the landmass and the mountains was between that and the tops of the waters was 15 cubits. So 15 cubits is prophetically significant of a flood. Now, we have 1,000 cubits, okay, that the angel was measuring, right? Now, if you divide 1,000 into 15, you come up with 66.6. So that 66.6 is the 4 sections of judgment on the beast, on Babylon. Babylon is fallen. And Babylon's going to be fallen with 4 tsunamis. All right? So, clearly we can see by this angel measuring 1,000 cubits and the statue in Daniel chapter 3, 60 cubits high. This image is the beast. And this image is going to be judged in those 4 sections of 15 cubits with 4 floods. Okay? So that's what the prophetic significance is of these numbers. And guys, if anything I'm saying is kind of strange or obscure, I have all this charted out in notes, and I'll put the notes in the scripture field so that you can study this. I'm going to have to just go real quickly, as I always do. I've shared a lot of things as foundation already, okay? Like Daniel 2 and Daniel 3 about that beast. We told you that we would get into this. Now, the other thing that this is doing, when it's looking at these 4 sections, guys, everything is in 4s, you can see. This also has to do the 4 sections of the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is principally 4 sections before the Lord Jesus Christ defeats the armies of Armageddon, okay? So there's a section of the 7 churches. There's a section of the 7 seals. There's a section of the 7 trumpets. And there's a section of the 7 bowls. Each of those sections is 3.5 years. Now, within each of those sections will be a major tsunami. We've already had one. It's Japan. Japan was the first tsunami. That is the ankles. That's the first one, guys. If that's any indication of what's coming up, these are going to be major cataclysmic events, okay? Now, we do find this in Jeremiah 51, verse 13. O you that dwells upon many waters, her waves do roar like great waters and a noise of a great voice. Okay, that's actually Jeremiah 51:13 and Jeremiah 51, verse 55. Now, this voice of waters is a reference to what the Lord Jesus Christ, his voice is a voice of many waters in Revelation 1:15. So, guys, the first of these 4 tsunamis has already happened. All right? Now, that was Japan. Okay, that fit into this timetable. That one was of the 7 churches. Now we're in the seals. Okay? We're in the time of the 6th seal, and we would expect that the second tsunami would happen before we enter the next phase of the trumpets. All right? That's why I'm saying, without hesitation, the Great Tribulation is going to start this fall. Okay? There's no question about that. Now, the only thing is that there's a few things within the 6th seal that must be fulfilled. One of them is the great earthquake and tsunami. Okay, there will be a tsunami within the seals. All right, now let's go into these verses which prove out everything I'm explaining to you. So that, you know, this is my role, guys. I don't know exact locations. Now, I wouldn't really have thought as Japan is part of Babylon. Okay, I have other videos on the tsunami judging America. That's going to happen. I just don't know where it is and which one it's going to happen, because we were basically looking at one event, but now we can see that there's going to be 3 more coming. Okay, so let's look at some verses here. Amos chapter 9, verse 5. It shall rise like a flood and be drowned as by the flood of Egypt. He calls for waters of the sea to be poured out on the earth. Okay, so this is a judgment and a tsunami. These judgments are on Babylon specifically, guys. Okay, so those of you that live in places that, you know, Babylon isn't just one place, is what we're getting at here, guys. But as we get into this, the other thing I want to mention is, remember, it was 66.6 when you divide 1,000 by 15. And if we look at Psalm 66, verse 6, it says he turned the sea into dry land, and they went through the flood on foot, and there we rejoiced with him. Okay, so here we have the Lord talking about Egypt and passing through the Red Sea, and the flood not overflowing them. So guys, I say that to put that in this presentation to encourage you that, anything is possible for you to believe, okay? And I'm doing this so that you're not caught up in these judgments, but that you're prepared at a moment's notice, however the Lord instructs you to leave, to go, to get out, just like Lot, okay? But he turned the sea into dry land. I say that to encourage you that we have encouraging things here, but guys, this is major destruction. There's going to be lots of people dying as a result of these judgments, okay? Now, this one is, we're now going to talk about the sixth seal. In the sixth seal, there's clearly a tsunami. In Luke 21:25, it said there'll be signs in the sun, moon, and stars, distress of nations, right? It also says the sea and the waves roaring. Okay, so the sea and the waves roaring is not just a tumultuous storm on the sea. It's a tsunami. It's talking about the sea coming on land, all right? And we can see that in Jeremiah 51:42. Jeremiah 51, guys, is a judgment on Babylon. The sea has come upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of waves. So clearly we have this description here in Jeremiah of what it's talking about in Luke 21, okay? The sea is coming on Babylon. Babylon is being judged. Now also, Nahum chapter 1, the preceding verses clearly are describing the sixth seal, okay? And it says in verse 8, with an overrunning flood will he make an utter end of that place, okay? So that is the next one coming up, and we'd expect this within the next few months, okay? Anytime. And Haggai chapter 2, verse 6, Haggai chapter 2 is also the time of the sixth seal. You read the verses. He will shake the heavens. He will shake the earth and the sea. Okay? Now, when you shake the earth and sea, we're talking tsunami. We're talking major events with the sea coming up on the land. Okay? Now, again, we're going to use this expression throughout this presentation. Babylon is fallen. So now we're talking about the time period of the seals. Okay? Time period of the seals in Isaiah 21, verse 9. It says, the chariot of men and the horsemen. These are the horse riders. So these are the first four seals, okay? And then it says, Babylon is fallen. Babylon is fallen in Isaiah 21, okay? So that's what we're explaining. That Babylon is fallen. There's going to be judgments coming, okay? There's going to be 3 more major judgments, major tsunamis, okay? Now, the next section of time we get to after these seals, when the events of the 6 seals are completed, we enter the trumpets. Okay? Now, you're probably familiar with, but Revelation 12, the serpent cast out of its mouth water as a flood after the woman, but the earth opened up and swallowed up that flood. Okay? So what's happened is the woman has birthed the man-child, and then the dragon comes with the flood. Okay? But the flood does not affect the woman. That's what I was explaining as well. This is flood protection. That, you have these verses, that you're prepared, guys. These are sobering times. A lot of people are going to perish, okay? Also, in Revelation 8, chapter 8, verse 8, it talks about a mountain being cast into the sea. Now, if that's something to where it's an asteroid or something hitting the sea, clearly this is going to create a wave. Clearly it's going to create a tsunami, okay? I'm just presenting all the information. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, nor do I speculate. I give you the scriptures, and I give you as much information as possible, guys, so that you can prepare. Revelation 14:8, Revelation chapter 14, is the time of the trumpets, okay? It says, Babylon is fallen, which made the nations drunk with the wine of her fornication. Okay, so that's what we're saying. Babylon is fallen. Now, let's get into the next section of time. So the trumpets was 3.5 years. The bowl is also 3.5 years. The bowls are 7 bowls. In Revelation 18:21, and a stone like a millstone was cast into the sea. And with violence the great city Babylon shall be thrown down. Again, we have this stone coming into the sea. Now this is in Revelation 18, the time period of the bowls. Okay. Also, we talked to you about this before, guys, in another video on the 4 angels bound in the river Euphrates. But the mystery is the angels aren't bound to the river Euphrates. There's a revelation, a seal. Okay. Even as I do this, I have for you here the seal. Okay. The seal. We have the trumpets. We're talking about the trumpets and the bowls. Okay. Oops. And here's our bowl. Okay. Because, guys, this is very important for you to understand that all these time periods are 3.5 years, okay? And they go in succession, and then in each one of them would be a major tsunami, okay? But we talked to you before about the stone that was cast into the river Euphrates. Now, that stone that's cast into Euphrates is the same one that we see in Revelation 18:21 as judgment on Babylon. And it says there, Babylon will sink in Jeremiah 51:63 and 4. Okay? So there we have the 4 sections of time. Each is Babylon is fallen, Babylon is judged. Babylon is judged specifically with a tsunami. Okay? So there's going to be 4 of them. We've got 1 already, we've got 3 more. Now, this is also a judgment on the city. Now, the city is multifaceted. Again, it's not one location, it's not one country, it's not one city. In the book of Revelation, it talks about the city as Sodom, the place where the Lord was crucified. It also talks about it as Egypt. It also talks it as Babylon. So those are not for, those can't be one location. There's different places, okay? So this city is worldwide. And that's what it says. The harlot sits on the sea, on the waters, over all the nations, okay? That's why, clearly America is the worst, is the best representation of Babylon, Mystery Babylon. So certainly she will be judged. But there'll be other places which we don't know, okay? Now, that city is what Daniel 9:26 talks about. And it will destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end shall be with the flood, and war and desolations determined. Again, this is the city, Babylon, being judged. Daniel 8:11, and the place of his sanctuary, and him there, is the little horn. That's Obama in Daniel chapter 8. Of his sanctuary was cast down, okay? So in Daniel 9:26, we have the destruction of the city and the sanctuary. Okay, now this could be potentially Jerusalem and the temple that the Jews set up. We don't know, but clearly the city is Babylon. Babylon's going to be judged. Here it says clearly a flood. All right. Now Jeremiah 46:7 and 8. Who is this that comes up as a flood, whose waters are moved as rivers? Egypt rises up like a flood. Remember, it's also called Egypt, okay? Waters are moved like rivers. He said, I will go up and cover the earth. I will destroy the city. So clearly this is a tsunami destroying the city, destroying Babylon, okay? So guys, I'm going to just conclude here. I'm going to show you these notes. Take all this to the Lord and ask about this. I don't have any specific locations. The only thing I can tell you is the time frame. These will happen within the designated time frames. Okay, so again, this is very important, very significant, huge information here. The Lord told me many years ago that He would give me this line, and I would measure these tsunamis. At the time, I didn't know it was multiple. I thought it was just one in Isaiah 28. But now I have the line, now I have the information.